What's good, everybody? Happy Friday. Hey, anybody out there like me? Do you have you have like commitment issues? Anyone ever hear that? Hear of commitment issues, I certainly have had some commitment issues. I mean, I'll mess with one thing, and I enjoy that thing for a while, but then, I have a taste for another flavor or something else, and then I'll sort of dabble around in that flavor for a while, You know what I'm talking about, guys? Ladies, you know what I'm talking about? Audio, of course. I'll explain. Welcome to the Hustle and Grow Producer Challenge.
This is a Crush Audio production.
We're sparking it up. It's Friday night. What's good, everybody? Live from Nashville, Tennessee. My name is Ron. I am Crush Audio, Grammy-nominated producer engineer. It's the weekly hang with Crush Audio. You have entered the Sound Selection Special. Welcome. Shout out to all my homies. The back home homies. Ambridge, PA. What's up? Bridgers, what's up? Johnny Moe, Lee Taddy. What's up, boys? How we doing? Robbie T, what's good? Derek Wayne, what's good? Robbie Cash, what's good? Panama Quick, what's good? Sean G, what's good? Louisville, what's good? Stand up, Louisville. How we doing, everybody? How is everybody doing tonight?
Drop that shit.
I feel like that. I feel like dropping that shit tonight. I'm going to drop a little knowledge on everybody, allow everybody to come into the chat tonight. I want to welcome you to the Sound Selection Special. And what does that mean? Well, at first look, it's like, just going to be learning about picking some sounds, doing shit like this, like getting on here and saying, hey, I want to use Splice, and I want to go in here and look at sounds, and I'm going to evaluate some of these sounds, and I'm going to listen to this, or I'm listening to this, different sounds. Ooh. And that's cool. Sample selection is cool. Going through, let's go, brother. Welcome, Robbie. How we doing, my brother? Welcome to the live stream. It's been a minute. It has been exactly a week, and we are back at it. So, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, going through and picking out sounds and making sure they jive together is important, and I don't want to gloss over that. So we are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why is it important that they put the key signature here whenever we're playing through these things. Does that necessarily match with this? Well, they're a half step away from each other, so no, probably not. So we have to learn some basics as far as like key signatures. You want to make sure the general rule. What's the general rule as far as key signatures? I'm writing it. Key rule as far as key signatures is to match the key. It's as simple as that. So what's the general rule as far as key signatures are concerned? Yeah, match. And that's why, like if I'm looking at Splice, I'm going to find it important to know what key it's in. Also of relevance is the BPM. And depending on how fast your song is going, because BPM stands for what? Stands for BPM equals beats per minute. Okay. And of course, if you are a producer or a seasoned producer, you already know a lot of this stuff. But it bears repeating. And if there are beginners that watch this on review or repeat or tap in with us live, we want to make sure that we're covering some of the basics as well. So, why is it important to know what BPM we want to use where? Well, check this out. I mean, look at what the ideal BPM range is for various genres. And shout out to MixElite.com for these graphics. Grabbed them off of Pinterest. They were public, so figured I'd use some of these. But take a look at this. Hey, Alexis, what's good, girl? How we doing? How was your week? How was everybody's week? Did you have bad weather? Because we have had some of the shittiest weather, man. I mean, it's been bad. Like tornado warnings all night long, getting woken up. I learned one thing. I learned that, what's good, Nate? The couple is in the house. Got both of them locked in. Yeah, you had to, I'm sure you did, because up there, so that's coming from our friends up in Louisville. So they had terrible weather as well. I'll tell you a story right after I mention the first thing, but a story about coming home from a gig in Louisville. But anyway, we had, I had my phone on silent. So my phone, I had the ringer shut off, right? And I had my volume all the way down as well. And sure enough, when the tornado warning started hitting, I mean, it hit your phone like an Amber Alert hit your phone. And we don't get that many of them. So I wasn't aware of that. I mean, does that happen in Kentucky as well? I mean, I'm sure states are different, but I'm sure it busts through on an emergency frequency or whatever and just notifies everybody. But it woke me up right out of dead sleep, and I was thankful for that because we had horrible fucking weather. Yeah, for the tornadoes. Okay. Yeah. Well, back to the story. So I'm in Louisville at the hall at WMME Hall. Shout out King Dadu. Shout out my man Q1. Stephen Travis is going to be hosting or doing something affiliated with those guys. Hopefully Q1, hopefully he hops on the live. And if you're on here, hop on the comment section. Let us know what it is you're doing. At WMME. Anyway, I'm coming back from a performance there, and Alexis and Nate will know this well. They were there that night, probably. I mean, I can't imagine them not being there. But we had, yeah, I saw it too. Yep. I'm going to read some of these other ones. My glasses, I need to get closer to the screen. But anyway, we were coming out of one of those gigs that night, and I was debating. I don't know if I was with my kids or if I was with Tony. I went up there with a few different artists, MC10. Anyway, bottom line is the weather was horrible, and we were debating whether it was like, oh, should we stay overnight? And it was late. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, maybe even later. And we were like, should we stay or fuck it, we just driving through. We'll beat the storm, or we'll get ahead of the storm, or get through the storm, whatever we were thinking, whatever I was thinking, because I was the one driving. Well, needless to say, it was a bad fucking decision because, man, we got on 65 and we no sooner started heading south and just all hell broke loose. Like, and the sky gets different up there in Kentucky. It was that night, at least, because it was, as I said, the middle of the night and the sky was lit up and it was eerie. It was fucking weird. I'm sure people from up around that area can attest to. I know you get a lot of weather. So that I am sure. So anyway, let me see what it says here. I'm gonna add this up. Get bad around this time. Usually tornadoes break pretty quick in the Ohio Valley and Louisville. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it never got like that in Pennsylvania, you know? We'd have bad weather. We'd have thunderstorms. But it was never like a catastrophic event where, like where it materialized to like tornado, microburst and shit like that just cause all kind of damage. It was never quite like that. So anyway, getting back to the vibe here as far as today. I said sound selection special, but it really should be about like the intro, the commitment special, because we're going to talk about what happens when you prolong the inevitable. Sometimes that's a really good thing. Sometimes it's not really a great thing or super exciting to like for lack of a better word, bust your load right off the rip. You know what I mean? Especially in music. I mean, you want to make sure that music has an arc and a song has an arc. So lyrically, most of the time, lyricist and an artist is thinking that way. We need to think that way as producers. What's good, my man? Derek Wayne Douglas in the house. Just reminded me of something. This goes for Nate. This goes for Derek. This goes for Robbie. Anybody else that taps in and that chimes in the comments. If you're an artist, so it's for anybody that's an artist or a member of a band, please feel free to advertise your stuff. Send a link in these comments and cross-pollinate with each other. I was just talking about it off camera with Derek on the phone. We were having a chat, not to give up everything we were talking about, but we were having a talk about basically something around like artists being involved with other artists, like collaborations, things of that nature, where both artists get their fans, quote unquote, get exposed to the other person's fan base, and that helps you grow. You pick up one or two or 10 or 20 or 100 or 200, whatever your wherever you are as far as your climb up, as far as accumulating fans goes. So feel free to do that. Feel free to share any material on here. Give us links. Share any links, any material you have. Of what you do. Here, hopefully I did that right in the chat. See what this is. Also, we stretch out past 1 minute. Man, amazing fucking point, bro. I couldn't agree with that more. We stretch out what we do, That's a big deal. artists are going to inspire, creatives are going to inspire other creatives. And what a brilliant point that is. I feel that way big time. And I think a lot of artists, unless you're an artist that is, I don't know, clearly defined yourself as being somebody that works better in a situation where you have to just tuck yourself in a corner and not creatively interact with anybody else. If that's your vibe, it's very hard to collaborate with that. So in that circumstance, if let's say you're an artist, and let's say you're a guitar player and you play guitar and you sing, okay? So what's that mean? It means, well, first of all, from a psychological perspective, you have a real issue with controlling shit, and you want to be a control freak, because that's the only way you can accomplish that without collaboration. I mean, you can't record yourself and direct yourself and produce yourself and place all the microphones yourself and have a different depth perception or a different fucking pair of ears that somebody else has. You don't have the same experiences. You get wrapped up in your music. And for all these reasons, like, collaboration is huge. I would encourage that no matter what, the best shit comes from that. Just plain and simple. There's a reason why, like, even the highest level demo sessions, like the shit that they do at Blackbird Studio on the daily basis, the stuff that we do at the barn, shout out the West Barn, the shit they do at Ocean Way Studio, at Mike Latanzi's place up in Leaper's Fork, or down in Leaper's Fork. It doesn't really matter where the studio is. If it's a commercial space that's a big room that can accommodate a full band, and they have the requisite gear that you need to make legitimate records, then what's the attraction of that? Yeah, to get it all done at once? Yes. But the idea is to get all the creatives in a room together, and those musicians turn that into something that is like a gumbo that brews and becomes something else that's fabulous after you're able to sort of soak it in and savor it at the end of the recording session. I can promise you something. If you sat in on the Nashville recording session, which I've had the opportunity to not only sit in on, but also run with, I mean, we're talking about the best players. Let's say, you can't say the best player. I can't tell you that, guys like, shout out Neerzy, the most amazing drummer that I've been able to interact with live. But there are some others like Steve Brewster that I've had the opportunity to record. You look these guys up and they're incredible. Just being in the same room and being able to soak in their energy and learn from them was an amazing experience. But I'm getting off topic. It's not just about the drummers. It's about, guys like Gordon Mote and Mark Hill and Mike Payne and Jason Roller and all these studio guys who are, I can't tell you they're the best players on their instrument. I know that, or as far as like in Nashville, but I could tell you they're in the top 5, and we're playing in the professional leagues here. This is like NFL top 5 quarterback shit. This is not the AAA or the AA or the single A. These guys are making meaningful records that people are tuning in to on whatever streaming platform or Sirius or whatever the fuck they use that rapes us. They're basically in the top 5 of that. So there's a reason why they're all in that room together at the same time. yes, it's to accomplish things quickly, but decisions are made quickly. And that's where commitment comes in. And I even gave myself some notes here. You know, before we go into commitment, just real quick, because like an idiot, I missed a couple of things I wanted to mention to you. This is just information for you guys. I'm going to show you some stuff. These are plugins. And since this is a sound selection special, I want to give you some ideas of some plugins that you may not be familiar with. For, I believe it's 24, they have these deals on Splice, right? This company that has all these samples. Any sample you want. Let's go to like page 7. And you can literally crate dig here. They give you the key. They give you the BPM. And the BPM we can alter. Let me turn that down a little bit. Right? So this also has plugins that you can rent. And I have, where is it? This plugin collection, which is the V collection, and I'm close to owning it. And when you own it, you own all the VSTs. And I was just looking at it the other day. This is the Arturia area here. And when I open up Arturia, these are all the instruments from here to here that I will now own. And they cover every basic synthesizer. This has a number of different things in it. The ARP 2600. These are unique instruments. It has a B3. I'll show you some of these. And the sounds that are in here are pretty dope. You know, let you hear some of this stuff. You have all these presets here. Ghost Leslie, let's hear that. Okay, so my point is you have all of these. So anything we do here, let's say we take this distortion patch. This is a preset. I would highly advise people, no matter what sounds you have, you know, whatever instrument you have. Let's take a look at some of the other stuff they have. We're just going to pull synths out here. Don't forget, like this right now. Stop what you're doing and go ahead and like this. You can follow me on Facebook as well. You can like the Crush Audio Facebook page. There's all kind of information, and we have a Hustle and Grow group there, which allows us to do that over there. Appreciate you doing both of those things, and follow me on the YouTube channel. That helps a lot. You know, these are old emulations of old synthesizers. So here's yet another one, right? And, you know, we could keep going and going through this whole list over here. Some of them are very interesting because they have a number of different things. It's just a modern synthesizer that's unique to Arturia. And take a look at how many presets we have. Let's look a different way. Just look here at the countless amount of presets we have in this plugin that have different sounds, from strings to drums. You know, you could go from something like this. And by the way, I've not tested any of these sounds, so you're hearing it for the first time with me. You can go for something like that too. Same chords I'm playing. Let's just pick something else. Pretty dope, right? So check this out. Yeah, right? And that's the other thing about it, man. Bringing the 80s back. Yeah, but that, you just triggered something, man. You're golden for triggering me. Look, these things inspire you, right? I mean, the sounds sort of tell you what direction you can go in with them. You know, sometimes if they're really good at giving you the names of these things, sometimes even the presets will allow you to sort of have a pretty good idea of what they're talking about or what it's going to be about. You know, fairly sweep. What do you think this is going to do? Let's see. Is it going to sweep? So, you know, we can go from that fake jazz organ the point is, let's say we go in and we'll just take, you know, this I seem to like, so let's take this. I don't know why I like that, but let's get a keys thing here. What's good, my dude? Okay. All right, there it is. You know what? I don't use TikTok at all. I haven't ever really used it. I made an account at one point. How many people on here use TikTok? I don't even know if I spelled it right. Yeah, I think I did. How many of you on here use that? It'd be cool to maybe, I know, I've thought about doing like these. I see what you're saying. You see, that's why you guys need to, whenever you stop, we need to talk about all that stuff. I haven't forgotten about that. Definitely want to have a conversation about seeing how we can expand. If it'll expand reach and hopefully help some people, as well as put me in contact with other, other talent. That's really the thing, Pay it forward a little bit, hook up with some great talent. If we vibe together, make music. That's basically it. So anyway, here is, hold on 1 second. Here is the point is that you can get any of that whole pack you can get for, it's like $25 a month for, I don't know, I think it's 18 months or whatever. Maybe you can't afford that. I mean, something like that. I'm just mentioning that because it's 0% interest. So as long as you make your payment every month over the course of that time, at the end of that pay period, whenever it's finally done, they transfer the license and you literally own all of these plugins. And I have access to a B3, which I could show you here. I have access to all of these via that one thing. But that's not the only thing that you can use to pick sounds. I already showed you Splice, which there are other companies out there that sell particular sample packs toward whatever it is you're into. Maybe you're into, EDM music, and that's all you do is EDM dance shit. Well, then you would want certain packs and certain expansions that had to do exactly with that. I have packs on here that have to do with exactly what I want to, or I'm involved with, or things that I'm interested in using. So just going to play a few of these things for you together, and we'll make a couple quick decisions here after I slide through a couple of these. I'm going to pick a couple things, and I'll show you the rest as we go. Let me get rid of all these plugins. I'll keep the piano up there, and we're going to add Serato. So we're going to go to plugins, grab Serato, and just pull it over here. Okay, just have it available. Okay, and then we'll shut this down, and I'll show you these packs. So now I have all these sounds that I've downloaded. These are all different packs that I've got. A lot of them evolve around hip hop. They evolve around modern kind of production, modern drum sounds, stuff that I could build on. Different kind of textures, different kind of special effects. All of that shit is sort of compiled in this folder here, and from all these different companies. Ableton does a great job of like allowing you to bring in your typical workflow from your desktop into the side panel, sort of like FL. Same deal. They're both great at that. So I can go through and I can sample all of these sounds by not even clicking with the mouse. I could just use my enter key and arrows and literally listen to samples, listen to, and as you'll notice here, they have a key listed. They also have a tempo that's an ideal tempo for them listed. I'm going to play through a few of these. If somebody hears something they like and we can build on top of, let's do it real quick. And we'll talk about I'm going to turn that up a little bit. Let's listen to some guitar loops. Uh-oh. Well, we could do anything with that. Let's keep that in mind. That's an F minor. Do we have anything else in F minor? No. Okay. TikTok's where it's at. My man Nate's telling us TikTok's where it's at. Like as far as the videos are concerned and stuff. Nate? Alright. Alright. So we could literally say, if we double click here and we choose this, look what Ableton does. It puts it into a sampler for us. So check it out. Where the hell is it? Where the hell is it? Oh, my bad. You also like the wah-wah guitar strings? Yeah. I need to get a look at that, and I'm sure the algorithm will sort of, like, you know what I mean? It's going to cater to around what I look at, which is a lot of positive stuff to begin with. Yeah, I like the wah, too. I was thinking about doing this. Okay, let's try and just use that. Just something simple. And that's the whole point. Once you hear something that you like, let's give ourselves a couple more options here. No. Yeah, I dig that. Huh. Like that. Which one, Robbie? Oh. There it is. So if we start here, let's do that. Let's see. Well, it needs to be at 90. Okay. We can go to 90. That's why knowing what the BPM and all that shit is super important. And also, before I forget the point, because I do want to say that because that could be super nice. I also want to bring this in and have. I don't want them together. I want them. Whoops. Here we go. Feel me? Some combination of that, right? Yeah, I see it. It's Rocky shit, right? What if we do a little drummy? Let's see. I don't like that so much. I'm getting like lag. Hold on. I like that. I think the ideal thing, if I was actually building a beat here, would be like I'd duplicate this Serato sample. So here, check it out. Here's what I'd do. I'm not going to build the whole beat here, but I am going to save this and make something out of it. I'll share it with you next week. How about that? But I would pull these samples into here. So I'd literally take this and go boom. And on this one, I would take this sample and go boom. And now I have flexibility over the speed. I can slow this down now. I don't want either one of these to play, but I want to use, I'll show you an example here. Now I can slow this down because I've got it synced and it's using, by the way, plugin alert Serato sample. We've talked about this before in the first section on, when we were talking about, sampling and layering samples and things like that. Well, look what I'm reaching to do here. I'm reaching to go and do some sampling. I can pick whatever samples I want here, but for instance, we would start here. Now I slowed the tempo down. I could change the pitch and do anything I want. I can also, look here, I can also separate, let's say we just want the horns. Just the music. I have not heard of him, but Has anybody? I'm going to put it up there on the screen. Anybody heard of Alex Slay? I have not. But I'm posting it. Just in case you didn't hear that. I have not. But R&B is right up my alley, and I love it, you know. And this feels like a inspirational song, and that's what I'm talking about music sort of telling us, allow the music to tell you what you want to do. And you'll notice that we didn't go through all these different options that we have. You know what? Those are options. Look at all these options we have. We could have gone through... We could have gone through all these. Then we could have gone through all these vocal loops. We could have said, hey, you know, we have different vocals we can go through. We have different string loops we want to look at. We have different effects that we want to hear. All right. You know, we could have gone through all that stuff, but we made a commitment to just pull in the samples that we like. Now, all those options are off the table. What we have in front of us is something very simple now. There are two samplers here. One has one loop. Here it is. Right? There's the first one. Here's the second one. We're going to trigger the first key. There's our other one. Now, I could go through and sample this. I could choose just the key. But see, sometimes when you trigger the wrong one, you have to just sort of erase this guy and say, now I have those through, it's sort of lined up. I can go back and edit them later on, but now I've got now I could play around with those chops, right? But I've narrowed down all these samples. Like, Lord have mercy, I look at all the stuff we have. What do we have? We have nothing but sounds. We have all these options, let alone all the options inside of the plugins that we're using. Look at all the kits. Look at all the groups that have hundreds, if not thousands, of sounds in each one of these that are for specific genre shit. Like, at some point, you have to start making some decisions and remember that we can make music with our hands on the table and a couple glasses and a pair of fucking spoons. So we have to understand and remember that we can make something happen with whatever we got. I mean, I purposely pulled up just for the last thing before I get rolling tonight and say goodbye. But I pulled up just basically a couple of kits, right? So I have 4 different kits. Maybe you could see if it's in color here. I'll go through them. You see it? I don't know if you could see it changing, but I'm literally clicking through each one of these kits. Hold on, I'll show it to you here. Look on the screen. Right? So I'm cycling through all of these different sounds. All right? And I don't want it to be on sample. So you could see, here you go. Here's all the different kits that I have picked. Okay? All I want to do is just give you an example of, I'm not going to put on any metronome or anything. But what I am going to do is just show you how I could, with the sounds that I have right here in these few groups, I typically never make it past the first group in Machine. Because what is the core of a band or a groove? It's drums and percussion of some sort. It's a bass or a low end source. It's some kind of rhythmic figure or melodic figure that drives the music. And maybe there's some sort of supporting cast that's holding some foundational chords or something underneath there that's playing off of the other instrumentalist that's playing. At its bare bones, that's what it is. So don't try and make it something more than it's not. Allow space to have its place in music. They say space is the place, right? And, look at what you can create just with utilizing the 16 sounds that they give you on one kit here in Machine. And I would highly recommend you looking, if you're a producer, shout out to my guy, Jeff Doherty. Look at getting something like an Akai that has the keyboard, the MPC, that also has the keyboard, the MPC Live or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But take a look at that unit. Take a look at getting something like this unit right here, a Machine. You can get in under a price point into some sort of payment plan that is much, if you're in this business and you're going to do it, you have to do this shit. I'm losing that's my cord from my headphones, right? So let's take a look. First kit, just to give you an idea of all the different things that we have at our disposal when we make a purchase of the hardware. I haven't had to do anything other than purchase a few of these expansion kits toward the shit that I want to use and then squeeze every last bit out of it that I can. So, for instance, here we go. Let's take a look at this. There's one. Right? So there's another one, different vibe, just off of one kit. Now, I'm not laying out the patterns here, but you get the idea. That's way too loud, but you gotta fix this shit as you go. That's why you have a mixer here. Let me show you that. You got a mixer. So you go through and you go through and you pick your sounds, blah, blah, blah. And each kit has its own independent mixing ability. So, the point just is not to make a beat tonight, but the point is to show you that you have all these options. Utilize what you have. If you have a machine or if you have Native Instruments, typically it comes with a Native Instruments with different installation with different sounds. For instance, I'm trying to find it. There it is. Battery comes with machine. Whenever you buy a machine, you get Contact, which has its own different ecosystem that has a whole bunch of other stuff in it. For instance, let's take a look at that. Then I'm signing off. I'm beat. Been playing, been doing front of house. Shout out Rubik's Groove. Shout out all the cats that are in that group. It's an amazing group of really cool people that have been around for a long time, way before I was on the scene here in Nashville, but been fortunate enough to do some sound for them, front of house, for some parties, weddings, private events, stuff like that. And their whole vibe is inspiring. But I've been working with them. I've been working on a 18-song project, mixtape project with one of my buddies that was in the works for over a year, and it's finally going to happen. I have a really big announcement that I am not allowed to make, so I have to hold back. I think NDAs coming, but I have something big on the horizon coming somewhere in June. July. And so all that to say, I'm a little wiped out, but wanted to make sure we tapped in. And if you remember anything from tonight, other than I love you for stopping by, I appreciate you contributing, I appreciate you coming on here and chatting with me and hanging out. I appreciate all of that. So having said that and posting that, just remember that whenever you're making music, whenever you're in creative mode, whatever business you're in, quite frankly, whatever business you're in. Shout out King Doe. Shout out everybody in Looney and the whole crew. Also, Louisville crew. Going to be hooking up with them this weekend coming up. So that's another thing that's happening and ongoing. A lot of lot of things going on. My man Derek Douglas, he and I have an old school session coming up, which is going to be dope. That we've been chatting about, and just a whole bunch of shit going on, and it's all great. But the advice would be that when you're in creative mode, as always, leave your ego at the door. Fight for what's best for the song. Don't it's like if you're trading or you're in the financial market, or if you're a gambler just in general, like you're gambling on FanDuel every night, like a nut, or ESPN Bet, and you can't get emotional. You can't start chasing. You can't start doing things based on impulse without information. Impulse and gut feeling are great when you have information, right? I'm looking forward to it too, brother. But you have to be informed, and just when you get into that mode, understand that you're not the biggest person in the room, but arm yourself with the knowledge of being able to be a contributing piece to whatever it is that you're doing. And if you're doing something solo and you're saying to yourself right now, well, it's no big fucking deal because I do stuff by myself all the time and that's the way I roll. Well, that's cool, but you could also dick around for hours and hours and hours and then be an artist that, and I've seen this, I've lived it and experienced it, be an artist that just records and 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 records. And what's missing there? Never fucking releases anything. Ever. So frustrating. Super talented. I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? Some artists, either it's like a confidence thing or they feel like they can make it better, so they never let it go. Let the music go. You are overthinking things 9 times out of 10. Allow the professionals, and that's why you pay money for professionals to review your music and to add their sensibilities to it. Allow them to do that and pay them appropriately and fairly to do that. Negotiate a deal with your friends, acquire those relationships, but allow yourself to be guided in that direction, because ultimately it's just another set of ears that you trust on a project. And even if it's that and there's no other value added, it's important to have somebody else be a check and balance on you. You know what I mean? In the creative relationship. Basically giving birth every time you deliver a song. So some of us have lots of babies running around out there. With that, I'll say good night. Appreciate you tapping in with me, and I'll talk to everybody real soon. And to those of you that jumped in on the chat, and for those of you that are just watching from afar, I appreciate you. I appreciate you stopping by, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you, bro. Talk to you guys soon. See ya.